Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Confidence Culture Conversations. And we are one more episode closer to 100 episodes.
Well done, you, Elizabeth.
Well done to you too. So, Coach Kirubai, how are you?
I'm good. I know I always feel good when I come online and go live, but I'm so sad with the weather. It suddenly got cold.
Don't worry, as we get to the weekend, it's going back up.
Oh, lovely, 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 jubbly. I'm looking forward to some warmth. The weather is failing us.
I don't know if I'd say it's failing us. I think some people are happy with the weather.
Mm. But you know what? After having a couple of days of good sunshine last week, we got spoiled. So, you know what? I'm happy to have a little bit of coolness, but it's got a bit colder today. Well, cold, cold outside, but we are warm people.
That's it. That's it. And we don't let the weather stop us, right?
Yes. Definitely not. So, what have you been doing this weekend? Last weekend?
Last weekend, what did I get up to? Good question. So on Saturday, we both went to Women Aglow.
Yes, yes.
For those who are wondering what that is, it's a Christian organization for women, and there is an arm for men. I've forgotten the name, but Aglow is across the world. It's a global fellowship of
Mhm.
women.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, we go to the group that meets in Paddington, and we meet every 2 months, I think it is.
Yes, that's
And
right.
it's a good community to be part of.
We
Um,
get a lot of goodies.
yes, we
We
do.
get
Yes, we
over,
do.
we
Yes, we
get
do.
overfed.
Honestly, it's great fellowship. It's an opportunity to pray, to listen to a word, and to build community with women who are passionate about their faith, but also women who are discovering their faith.
Mhm.
Um, so that was really the main thing I did on Saturday, aside from try to go out and enjoy the sunshine or the bit that was left of the sunshine. And on Sunday, the church that we go to, we didn't have a service in our location. So we went over to Saturn for the service in Saturn, and it was really, really good. We had a couple who are from Denmark, from Copenhagen, and they were talking about the things that God is doing in their church, and it was just amazing. So yeah, that was my weekend. Oh yes, we had a bank holiday too, of which I spent Monday um doing hairdresser duties. So I was doing Jana's hair.
All right. Well, a day spent with the mummy and daughter.
Absolutely. And daddy. Daddy was in the background.
Okay, Daddy was in the background.
How was your weekend, Kirubai?
Yeah, before we go to the weekend, of course, we went to Aglo International. The men's arm of Aglo International is called Men of Isaka.
That's it.
Yes, so the men are not left out, but they can join their fellow men and be part of this international global group. Yes, so I had to rush off because I was going for a baby shower, and I thought I was going to be bored stiff, but you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed myself
That's good.
because I tapped into my inner joy, or something that I have done for a long time, long time before, and I've forgotten all about it. It is actually fabric painting, and I loved doing it. And we know the activity, part of the activity was, to do little jumpers, the
The
inners that they
baby
use
grow.
for babies. Yeah. So I painted for this. So they had about six, and we had six women were sitting and painting. I think there was a guy too. And it was so therapeutical, Elizabeth.
That's good.
Decided to start painting actually.
Okay.
So if for those who are interested, I mean, if who are you connected on LinkedIn or Facebook, I put my pictures up there, and it was really, really therapeutical and fun.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Yeah. So that was my Saturday and my Sunday, of course, church and just relaxing. And my Monday was whole day in the garden trying to sort out the garden before we kind of want to do some planting. And there we go on Tuesday. We are here. The time flies so fast,
Mm,
and yet we have to play catch up.
absolutely. Make the most of the time. That's what we have to
Yes,
do.
that's right. Be intentional about your timing, and your time is
Mm.
precious. So let's move on to our topic of the day today. So, as I was thinking, we had excellent 5 weeks of speaking about our our book the last couple of weeks. But today is another book that it's the roadmap for success: 10 Ways to Fail Forward by John C. Maxwell. So, making failure your springboard. And what does failure mean to each one of us? And for me, as I look at it, I have failed many times, but if I had just sat, moaned, and groaned about my failures, I wouldn't be where I am today, Elizabeth.
Mm,
And I think failure is one of the biggest gifts that one can have to move forward to the things that God has prepared for us. Because with those experiences, we can touch many lives because our story tells and helps someone else. So part of failure is, I think, it can sit nicely with our intentionalities in the future.
mm.
So what are your thoughts about failure?
Interestingly, I was on TikTok earlier today, and one of the videos that popped up for me was a young man talking about how he had come out of jail, how he had come out of prison, and that was the second time he had been in prison. But he said the second time he got into prison, it was different because he found God.
Ah,
So yeah, just talking about failure, that can seem like a failure, but in the midst of the failure, yet he found a relationship with God. So I think a lot of times we can think failure is the end of us. And a lot of us don't step into things that we would like to step into because of the fear of failure. But you failing doesn't mean it's the end. Failure could mean redirection. Failure could mean just another opportunity for you to try again. Like every failure can be an opportunity to grow, but it's about our perspective and how we view the failure.
today Funky had a post. She talked about jobs. I think a lot of us just get stuck in our vocation and a job from the time we start till retirement,
Mm,
and never discovering our purpose. And that job is like a comfort zone that we are in, afraid of taking the step to find what what is our purpose and our calling, and a greater calling. Our
mm,
jobs can be our calling. That's not wrong, but I like the post where she said, we are so comfortable in what we are doing that we don't want to step up and make that mistake to step forward. And I thought it was so apt for our life today.
Mm.
So, and I think she was speaking about in terms of having a side hustle. And that's good. That's good because you're trying out something. If it fails, you still have something to something to fall back. Hi, Samya. Welcome. So I, I think it's a great place to be because we have tried and bought the photographs, as some would say, um, taken the photographs, and yet we can move on and say, hey, if this doesn't work, I am just going to move on to try something new.
That's it. That's it. And that's why I was saying that it can be a redirection.
Mm.
It's an opportunity to go back to the drawing board.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be, let me cut my losses, call it a day, and walk away. It doesn't have to end that way.
Mhm.
And I think, that fear of failure can be very, I'm trying to think of the best word to use, but it can,
Daunting.
yes, it can be, but it can literally cause you to freeze. Instead of moving forward, you're not moving forward. You basically, you're stagnant. You're not moving anywhere because you're scared of failure.
Mhm.
And then you're not making progress. And that's not going to get you any way closer to the thing that you're trying to achieve. And do you know what? One of the things I like to say is, regardless of the failure that you think you're going to encounter, if that dream or that goal or that success is what is big enough, right? If it is, then you should go and pursue it regardless of what failure you think is going to come your way. Because the beauty of it is you might not even fail.
Yeah, that's so true.
But our perception of failure is what makes the difference.
Mm. You could be the next Elon Musk, for all we know. Hi, Tunji. You
And do you know what? When
you
you
might discover something.
absolutely, and when
Go
you
ahead.
look at like all the great inventions, it
Mm.
didn't happen in one go. It was, let's try this, let's see if it works. It was like a scientific experiment. Let's
Mhm.
try this, does it work? Let's try that, does it work? Let's change this, let's change that. I remember when I was at uni, one of the subjects I had to do, one of the modules I had to do was programming. And I had no idea about programming. We were doing Java, and I was like, I have never done Java. What is all this? And I remember we had some coursework to do, and we were put in groups of three. And we wrote some code. We thought it works. We thought it produces the result we wanted to produce, and we changed just one thing, and it just flipped. Like the result we were expecting is not the result we got. Instead, we just got error, 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 error. And sadly, it was like that was the night before we were due to submit. We
Oh,
were working all night. And then we changed one thing when we thought we had finished and we're just doing the final touch, and we got so many errors. Do you know what we did? We submitted. We said, we are not going to give this any more time. We are going to submit. Our effort will be evident and we'll submit it anyway. So, failure doesn't have to be the thing that discounts you from the opportunities that are in front of you.
you were very brave to do that.
We were tired.
I'm retired. So I know you guys didn't take it personally. You just submitted it and see what was the outcome.
Mm.
You braved the outcome. So you didn't take it personally. And one of the things, yes, oh, failure is not the end of all. Yes, definitely, Tunji, definitely. So one of the points that I think it's very important to reflect upon is don't take it too hard. Don't take it too personally.
Mm.
Think of it as, by the way, I have failed this time. Let's move on. And me, I think probably you, I don't know, but coming from a very coming from an Asian background, they take failure very seriously.
Mm.
When you fail, people always put you down, scold you, push you in the corner, and I think these things have changed now. But when I failed, um, I felt very condemned,
Mm.
and it was not easy. And you didn't have the right spheres of influence um, you know, to support you in your failure. But I had to learn the hard way.
Wow.
Yeah. It was when I was, 14, 15, 16. But you know what? Nowadays, if I fail, why? Wow, I'll see how I can unpick and, won't take it personally, unpick and see where I've gone wrong, where I've made the right decisions and learn from it.
Mm.
And I think we need to pass this on to our children. If not, they'll be so fearful to try anything.
You've taken me down memory lane, Kirubai.
Hmm. Share,
So
come.
in Uganda, we have you do primary school, and at the end of primary school, you do 7 years of primary school. At the end of primary school, you have exams, and those exams determine the secondary school you're going to go to.
Mhm.
So they're a big deal. Those are like your first major exams. Bearing in mind our educational system, you do not pass to the next class until you've achieved the grades that you should achieve. And aside from that, like every term, you get a report which shows the position you're in class. So talking about like failure, ooh, we are brought not to want to fail, because you see where you see your position. You get a report card that literally says you are fifth position out of 100 students. So you know where you are. And I remember like I remember sometimes in class, one of the things that had to happen. So sometimes a teacher would come into class, and before they start their lesson, they say, "Oh, we're going to do like the times table," or or the teacher might say, "The test that you did last week, I've got the results," and he hands out the papers. And then literally what he would do, oh my days, this is taking me back. What he would do was, so those who got 90 and above, sit down. Everyone else, he goes round with a cane and he canes us. And then he keeps going down, going down. So the lower your grade is, the more canes you're going to get. Oof! Now, that should already make you not want to fail.
That's
So,
right.
so going back to the story I was initially telling. So when it came to end of primary school exams, I used to be among the top 10 in class. But for whatever reason, Kirubai, I underperformed. I did not get the grades that I was expected to get at the end of primary school. I was disappointed with myself. When you kind of just want the ground to swallow you in, that's what happened. I didn't know how to explain it. I just said I clearly did not put in enough work. I was distracted. I did not give it my all. So you would usually get a grade. The top grade that you can get is a 4, which means you got a 1 in the 4 subjects. I got 11.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't go to my first choice. I couldn't go to my second choice. I was like, because before you do exams, you have 4 choices of schools that you can go to. So you select which 4 secondary schools you want to go to. And obviously you select based on what you think you're going to get. So I couldn't go to my first, I couldn't go to my second. I was like, my third and fourth, I just put them on that form for the sake of putting something. I did not intend to go there. So I was in the situation where my mom had to find another school for me. So eventually they found a school for me. And I remember going to the school and I was thinking to myself, Elizabeth, you're not meant to be here. This is the wrong place. You should have worked hard. Now, if I was dwelling on failure and not learning my lessons, I would have said, I'm not going to put any more effort into it. I have failed and that's it. But one of the things I told myself, I had to remind myself of who I was and the skill or my abilities. I had to remind myself of my abilities. So I made sure that even in the secondary school that I didn't like, I was among the top students. So I just made sure that I was performing the way I needed to perform until sadly, one time at the end of, I think it was our second term, we had some exams and I was ill while doing the exams. So I underperformed. And so that meant I was then put in the lower class, still within the same year group, but the lower class, the underperforming class. Oh my days. Honestly, failure is part of life. It is going to happen at some point in your life. But you have to learn to bounce back from failure. Failure will teach you resilience. That is one of the things it will teach you, because resilience is just about bouncing back from things going wrong, things not working out the way they should have worked out. And when you failed, the annoying thing is it makes you a bit scared to try again. It makes you a bit scared. But I want to encourage anybody watching us today, regardless of the failure that you have encountered along the way, don't give up. Go back and try again. Look at what you could have done differently. Evaluate yourself. What lessons can you learn? And give it another go. Don't give up. Don't write yourself off. Don't write yourself off. But yeah, I'm going to be quiet because that story could have different angles. But yes, there we go.
Go on. Come on.
She wants me to go on. So when I came to the UK, it was after I had done 1 year of secondary school in Uganda. So I came to the UK and I remember.
And what age was that?
I was about 14. Okay. I was about 14 when I came. So when I got into school here in the UK, it was a breeze. I was like, oh, okay, this is okay. I can do this. But when it came to GCSE, so this is now like the first major exams I'm facing here, I was like, Elizabeth, can you do it? Elizabeth, are you going to be okay? Remember, you failed before. And at the back of my mind, I'm being taunted by this failure that has happened in the past. And so there's the voices in your head, because sometimes that will happen, right? You will have the voice saying, oh, you failed before. Look at you. You think you can do it now. Ha, ha, ha. And you're having to tell yourself, Elizabeth, you can do it. You've got this. You've got what it takes. You can do it. And I remember just encouraging myself and standing on my faith, because my faith is what helps me to get through. Standing on my faith and I'm like, God, I need to do well. I need to score really well in these exams, regardless of my results in the past. And thankfully, I did all right. And I was like, yes, you don't have to be scared of failure. Just because you failed in one season doesn't mean you're going to fail in the next season. Honestly. Hold on to that. It doesn't mean you're going to fail in the next season. It just means your pace might be different. It just means you're better informed. You are wiser as you're approaching whatever the issue is, whatever the scenario is. But don't stop yourself from taking a step forward because you are scared of failing. Get back up. Try again.
get back up and try again. That is a good mantra that we need to follow. Every time we fall, we get up and shake the dust and look up and say, I'm going to try again.
Mm.
So always ask why and not who has brought this failure into your life. Sometimes we can be blame shifting, and that's not good. Why are you laughing?
You've reminded me, sorry, of a Nigerian film that me and Tunji watched one day. And
Uh-huh.
let me try and remember. It was this guy who he showed up late to work and he underperformed at work. And so he got fired. And because he got fired, it just led to so many other issues happening. But he wasn't taking responsibility of his own part. He wasn't taking responsibility of the failure. And he kept on saying, it's my village people. My village people are after me. And it got to the point where his so-called village people appeared to him in a dream and they were whipping him. They said, so you think we're the ones causing you trouble? Let's cause you trouble now so you can see. So take responsibility, take ownership of the failure, see what you can learn from it. And I love what you said, Kirubai, because sometimes we want to blame. Sometimes we are looking for what to blame. And I remember a saying, a bad workman blames his tools.
The tools. Yes, that's right.
So sometimes we fail and we say, oh, it's because of this. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. Well, whose responsibility is it to make sure you have this or that?
Yeah, I like that. That puts a smile on my face. Yeah, we all, I mean, I think it's human nature to blame shift.
Mm,
And we got to, when we are caught off guard, we always try to blame shift. But I think we have to be very conscientious that, to take the matter and check, where have we made a mistake, or we have not done enough research, or even sometimes jumping before the gun, they would say, before you have had such a conviction to go and do something like this. We are women of faith. Sometimes we have to take it to the Lord and say, Lord, is this what you want me to do? And await for an answer from him, and then he will guide you step by step.
mm,
And if it fails, you can always blame God. No, you can't. You can't, because you're not getting the right instruction to take hold of something and move on to it. But you know what? It's always good to analyze and find where did we go wrong.
mm,
So as some say, it's a learning curve. We keep learning in all our processes. It's it's uh, p- like I like the example that you shared about putting a system together, in the sense probably it was you were building a website. Okay, when you say Java, it's website, right? So
well, not
probably there
always
was.
websites. It could just be running a program that does
Okay.
something.
All right. Okay. I'm not a computer savvy. So if I see Java, it could be the backdrop of a computer. I'm wrong. Okay. But you know what? The point I'm trying to make here is, to be able to do something and say, hey, I've learned this. So how am I going to unlearn this? Probably you might not have done the processes, the due diligence.
Mm,
And things technical, you can't play the fool. You need to put those processes in order for you to get certain results, like some engineering stuff, some creation, some innovation that you're called to do. But if something else is, in terms of even coaching, we could say that sometimes we might give a wrong thought to someone and they might be dwelling in it. You could bring forth an idea to somebody and it might not sit right with them.
Mm,
So, whatever it is, you need to know deep down in your heart whether you're taking the right decision, following the right direction.
mm.
It's important.
No, definitely is. And I think one of the things that can happen is we can label ourselves as a failure, and that's a problem. If you start to label yourself a failure because of a time when you failed, just because you failed at something doesn't mean you wear the label of failure.
So, you're speaking negative on yourself, right?
That's it, because you have a lot of people who do that. You find I'm a failure anyway. I always fail at this. No, it doesn't have to be your story. Change the narrative. Change the narrative. That doesn't have to be you for the rest of your life. It is not determining you for the rest of your life. You have the power to change your story. So yes, you might have failed today. Yes, you might have failed yesterday, but that doesn't mean you remain there. You can change your story. You can rewrite your story. You don't have to wear the label of I am a failure. Hi, everybody. My name's Elizabeth and I'm a failure. No, 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 no. Because all you are doing is you are calling more failure. You are speaking forth and framing your world and saying, failure, come to me. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So don't do that. But the other thing, go on, Kirubai.
No, I just wanted to say the power of your thumb.
That's it. That's it. But the other thing that failure can also do is that failure can get us into a place where we are comparing ourselves to others.
Ooh, that's a good one, Elizabeth.
But what you need to remember is that everybody's journey, it doesn't have to be the same. Your journey is your journey. Own your journey.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, me and Kirubai, we both do coaching. How we got here, different journeys.
So different, yes.
So, one thing you need to remind yourself is, just because I failed, it doesn't make me any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of, whether it's a coach, whether it's, it doesn't make you less. It doesn't discount from you, because it's easy for us to start comparing ourselves to others. And I remember something that Tunji told me, like sometimes in growing up in Nigeria, one of the things that people might say is when you've failed or not performed as well as your sibling, or as well as your friends in class, your mates, they might say to you, oh, do they have two heads? How come you failed? What's that about? And that's comparison. And sadly, we do that with our kids. We do it with, with our friends. We do it. We say, oh, but why did they do better than you? Why have you failed? And we need to realize that everybody processes things differently. People are different. Our journeys are different. When I was in my banking job, there was an exam I had to do. If you go on my LinkedIn, you see it. It's an insurance related exam. It was a finance exam. And I remember, thank you. I have a witness. Yes, definitely a Nigerian saying. A witness. But I remember I did this exam, Kirubai, the first time. I failed by a few marks. And this was a work related. I needed to pass this exam to move on to the next level in my job. I did it the second time. I failed, Kirubai, just by a few points. My manager sat me down and said, Elizabeth, what's going on? The next time you fail it, your job is at stake. So we need to make sure you pass this. Hey, I went back to the drawing board. I said, okay, this is my timetable for revising. I can't be doing this. I can't be doing that. I can't be doing that. I am going to put my head down to revision. I'm going to master this thing. Thankfully, I did the exam and I passed. And I stayed with my job and I moved on to the next. But failure sometimes can get you so worked up. You get so nervous. You get so anxious. So we need to learn to even manage our emotions in the midst of failure or after the failure has happened.
But you know what? We can never become we don't take the objective route. We become so emotional and then become depressed, and then we go and hide ourselves in a corner.
That's it. And that's not nice.
Ooh, that's not very nice. Yeah. And talking about being able to come up, to jump up, and the word is resilience. We need the resilience to pick up ourselves and say, let's give it another try. And it reminds me of Colonel Sanders, the KFC guy. How many times did he try his formulation, the recipe? If he had given up, I think it was 99 times or something to that effect, and he discovered it on the 101 time that he discovered the perfect mix of his finger licking good concoction. Can you imagine that? How demoralizing it could have been for him. And he was an elderly man. If I were him, I think I would have thrown in the towel. But you know what? We all grow into our what we are called to do. And talking about Colonel Sanders, I want to encourage those who are out there, who think their life has come to a halt. Hey, look at me! I'm 63, and I told myself I'm not going to retire till the dying day. I'm going to coach someone. I must find someone to coach. Some grandmother who has gone through, no, when let's say I'm old and I'm 80, and I will still not stop my coaching. I want to touch lives. So there, we fail, we drop, we get up, we move on and say we want to make a difference. And that's important. Age should never hold you back.
That's it.
That's it. It should never hold you back. So I went for yes, when I was in the college, I met some women who are, they're in their retirement. And, one of the questions I asked them is, what would you do? What would you like to do once you retire? A lot of them struggled with wanting to make use of their time. Well, I said, would you like to do a side hustle? Or I was just popping some questions. And a lot of them didn't know what they wanted to do. Because when you are in a 9 to 5 job, I can tell you, you are afraid. You're so afraid to step out of that comfort zone. So I told them, if it takes me 90, I'm still going to do something to entertain myself and also to entertain others. Yes, Kunji, I am going to tell them age is never a problem. It should never stop you from doing what you're called to do.
I love that. I love that. As long as you're able to, then keep going. Tunji, what is that saying? Something about if you retire, you expire. You Nigerians and your statements that you like to make. but I like what you're saying, Kirubai, because Sometimes we blame it on our age. Now, there might be some careers or dreams that people have that maybe there's a restriction on age. For example, if you want to be a professional footballer, you can't come at the age of 60 and say, I've always wanted to be a professional footballer, so I must become a professional footballer. Like there's a peak. There's a peak. So it's just being
Real,
mindful
yeah,
of things,
reality. Yeah.
being mindful of things like that, but also just taking restrictions off yourself, I think, is the
Mindset.
key thing.
Mm.
And the fear of failure will put a restriction on you. You won't want to go forward because you're embracing the fear of failure. The other day we took Janaya out to go skating. Now, she recently got roller skates. The first time she tried the roller skates, when we went out, literally we got out of the house and boom, she fell. But that didn't stop her. We still were able to go to the park, and she had fun. And did she fall? She fell a couple of times, but she got back up, to the point that by the time we came back home, she was still on her roller skates, right? Now, if you want to be successful, or if you want to get good, if she wants to get good at roller skating, one thing she's going to be mindful of is that, yes, I might fall, but I need to keep getting back up because I'm learning. I need to keep getting back up. And I think that's the attitude we need to adopt for the different things we do, because sometimes we give up too early. Some of us have started a business and we failed, and so we've written ourselves off from starting a business ever again because we think we're going to fail. But what if you don't fail? What if you don't? The next time we went out roller skating, she said, Mommy, I don't want to be the one to get out of the house fast, because that's what happened last time and I fell. I said, okay, I'll go ahead of you. And I went ahead of her. She didn't fall when we got out of the house. In fact, she didn't fall as many times as she fell the first time she went out roller skating. So progress is being made. So if you don't give into the failure, you will make progress. You will grow along the way. You will get better. Success will be a step closer if you do not give up.
And having the growth mentality is important. She's from strength to strength. She grew in her skating, and
That's
that's
right.
what we should take that growth mentality and say, I today maybe I do 10%, tomorrow I'll do 20%. You set goals for yourself. You set goals for yourself to do better. And I always say this: if you once you stop learning, you die. You need to grow every day. Every day you need to learn something.
Mm, mm,
So my latest craze is Chat GPT, because I use Pilot because it comes with my computer. So it's quite interesting. I was speaking to my um, web designer, my designer in India, and he was telling me to have to firstly name my chat GPT a name and have a conversation. That means, typing out and it was quite interesting what I got from Copilot and chat GPT, because they were throwing different narratives, same content but different narratives. You see, different
mm,
way, the construction of sentence, the information. It's because chat gpt, you kind of go into very, very detailed questions that you ask. According to your questions, it throws answers. That was quite interesting, because I've never used it, because Copilot is a little different. I think it's a lot simpler.
mm,
Maybe I should try prompting more questions. But you know what? When he shared that with me, I was trying out. You know, I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing something, putting some questions out, and it's interesting. And while waiting for you, Elizabeth, 10 minutes to 7, I was trying my ChatGPT and asking some funny questions, and it was answering me. But it was quite funny. But you know what? I'm willing to take the risk. I'm
Mm,
willing to learn something new. And it could be from someone very much younger than you and someone older than you. But we are constantly learning because we must see the bigger picture.
mm.
Because when you master these things, it's going to help us. Always seeing the bigger picture.
That's it.
Don't limit your dream. Like what Tunji, he had put a chat there, and he said something to do with dreams, and said,
Hmm.
don't limit your dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I like that. I like that. Failure is something that inevitably happens. And I think when we have a perfection syndrome, let me call it a syndrome, when we're
Perfection
trying to
being
get everything perfect, it's easy for us to not move forward because we're scared of failure. Now, I'm sure everyone wants to get things perfect, but don't let the perfection or the need to be perfect to be the thing that holds you back. Be open to failing because when you fail, you learn. Be open to, okay, maybe it will go wrong. A few days, when was it? Not last Saturday, the Saturday before, I was at the Impact Leadership Conference. And as we started off, the gentleman who was hosting it, Shay mentioned all the things that had failed leading up to the conference. Somebody might have decided to cancel the conference because of all the things that failed. But he didn't give up. He went ahead, and he posted something about it actually to just say, all these things happened, but we still managed to have a successful event. Even to the point of, I think, 2 or 3 speakers dropping out. He was able to quickly get another speaker, get another speaker, get another speaker. So sometimes the fear of failure is going to hold us back. And it will hold us back for as long as we allow it to hold us back. But you need to take control. You need to change your narrative. You need to push past that fear and give it another go. Because you never know what's on the other side until you try. I now enjoy saying to my clients who I coach, if you knew nothing was standing in your way and you knew you couldn't fail, what's the thing you would like to do? So if you knew failure was not an issue, what world opens up for you? What opportunities open up for you if you knew that failure was not an issue? Don't limit yourself because you're scared that you might fail. If at all you do fail, get back up again. Get back up again.
So if the question I would ask is, sometimes people, if they're monetarily, they've failed quite a bit, maybe investing in a business, that can be very daunting for them to take the next step. So how do you manage risk?
Start small.
Take small risk, yeah. Small bites.
Yeah, take a step back. Do more research. Get the right team. Be more informed. Sadly, yes, it does happen. But you have to remind yourself, I can't stay down. I need to get back up. And if I'm going to get back up, who do I need to help me to get back up? Do I need support, or can I get myself back up? There's a lady we bumped into today on the streets, and she was literally down on the floor like something had happened to her. And she looked like she was very uncomfortable, like she was very unwell. But she refused help. I was like, okay, like, do you need any help? Can I? No, 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 I'm fine. And eventually she slowly and painfully managed to get herself back up again. And you could see as she took a few steps forward that she was struggling, but she didn't want any help. So she just kind of kept on going, and just kind of gradually enduring and getting back to being straight up. But we have to be open to help. We have to be open to getting support, especially when you have failed, because sometimes we get too embarrassed to ask for help. We feel ashamed because we have failed. Don't die in your shame. Don't die in your shame. If there's somebody that can help you, reach out for help. What's the worst that they can say? Sorry, I haven't got time for you. Don't die in your shame and in failure. You can get back up. If you're struggling to get back up, get help, get support, get into a place of accountability. Get a coach, get a mentor. Find friends that can help you. When you talk about groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, they try to connect the person with somebody else so that there's some accountability, so you don't fall back. Or when you do fall back, there's somebody to catch you.
Support you, yeah.
So find the support that you need to help you to get back up again. It's
And that
possible.
same principle can be applied on your, whatever project that you are doing,
Mm,
to help you keep yourself on track, and you know and realize what you're called to do, that the dream that's so burning in your heart. Do not let the dream die within you, and let's not take it to the grave, as if I want to cruelly put. But you know what, let it bless someone else. Let you
mm.
come off and be a blessing. So Elizabeth, what is that one word that the one word I would say before I close this: don't give up.
I think that's it. Don't give up. Don't give up. I like what Tun just put there as well. Like, get back up again. Get back up again. And it might be that you need to create a mantra for yourself. A mantra that you can, like your go-to mantra, that you can always refer to when you feel like you are at that place where failure is intimidating you. Find a mantra that you can hold on to. For me, one of the mantras I hold on to is, when I see it, believe it, act in it, my dream can become a reality. So, yes, I might have failed, but if I keep seeing it, if I keep believing it, and I keep taking action on it, it's going to become a reality. So find a mantra that you can hold on to that will help you to just kind of get back up, that will encourage you in the times where you might be feeling down. Kirubai, do you have one?
I mean, I have, rebranded myself. This is something that I always say: style your life, body, bringing your body and mind and your spirit in alignment. And when we come in total alignment, we function in a totality. We can be the person of success. So it's like, I when I think about you, I always encourage myself, Elizabeth, dare to believe.
That's it.
Yeah. So style your life with Grace K is something that I have coined up, and aligning your body, mind, and spirit to be that person of success. It is so important, because
Mm,
success, we are all called to be successful. And failure is just a stepping stone, a springboard
Mm,
to that success that is awaits each one of us.
mm. That's it. That's it. Well, thank you to everybody who's joined us today. Those on Facebook, LinkedIn, or even YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching this on replay, please leave some comments. We would love to hear from you. And if you have some lessons around failure that you'd like to share or you don't mind sharing, please put them in the chat. And if this conversation has sparked something for you, or you even want to, whether it's sit down and have a coaching session or just somebody to even pray with you, or there's an area that you'd like to be mentored in, please feel free to reach out to myself and Coach Kirubai. Will be more than happy to support you in any way that we're able to. So please feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, don't die in your shame. Don't die in that place that is called the prison of failure. Don't die in there. There is life to be lived out there. So get back up, pick yourself up, pick up the phone a friend, send somebody a message, say help, I need support. Do what you need to do. Reach out and get the help that you need so that you are not stuck in that place. But thank you so much for joining us for episode 96. Yes, episode 96. So we are going to head out now. Just a quick one. Kingdompreneurs Summit is coming up. It's literally a month away. I'll have the flyer for next week, but it's a month away. We're in Milton Keynes. You need to be there. That's all I can say. I know Kirubai will be thousands of miles away, but I know she'll be there in spirit. But you need to be there. And if you are a Christian woman, join us this Saturday at the Dare to Believe Women's Prayer Breakfast, where we'll be, having some food, fellowship, and just praying together and reading God's word together. So there's a lot going on. Reach out so we can send you some more information. But we love you. God bless you. Thank you for joining us.